So let us take today one example of a system and then we try to understand the SRS and DLD. Okay. So let us say, let me take this uh, project, which is named as Online Automobile Showroom Management System. So this is the title, the project name. Okay, so it is an automobile showroom management system, and it is an online mode. So from the name itself, like since it is online, there will be two external entities which will be interacting with the system. That means with the software. One is the administrator who will feed all the information into the system, and the other one is the customer or the user. Okay, so then once you write this is clearly from the project point of view, so this is how you have to make. That's why I'm saying that you have to pay attention and you have to write point wise. Okay, then the next is project definition. So this system or software will basically allow people to easily inquire and book vehicles from a web-based interface. Okay, and the administrator, the one who will be handling the website, basically will be able to upload all promotional material like description, product information, price, isn't it, type of the vehicle, all those information will be uploaded by the administrator. Okay, so the administrator will be uploading all these information so that it will be easier for the customer to choose the vehicle which he or she wants to. But before choosing or before browsing, like it is an e-commerce portal. So here also, first of all, the customer should be able to register. All right. And then there should be a facility where he can fix a date for test drive as well. Okay. So users will also be able to submit inquiries and feedbacks so that the administrator can take in and the queries can be resolved. Okay. And answer them via phone call or an email. So this is basically the work or the project definition. So first of all, whenever we make a system, we have to check whether an existing system is already there or not. That means the software or any kind of system exists. Okay. So first of all, the existing system of vehicle booking is solely done in the offline mode. That means by going into the vehicle showroom. Okay. But due to the space constraints, vehicle showrooms are generally placed at the outskirts of the city, isn't it? That is also one, you can say that we're coming with an online mode, this factor can be reduced, and new customers will have to make repeated journeys to complete all the formalities. Then another thing, the existing system that is which is completely in the offline mode is that it might be prone to human error because the sales representatives may not be able to describe the product correctly, may not be able to fill the form of the customer correctly during the registration process. It might be prone to human error. So that can be again one of the you can say constraints. Okay, then a new customer will find it constantly difficult to call. Okay, in the front, like in the reception center, and ask the vehicle ability, test ride appointment, all these things. Okay, because they, I mean to say, there may be a kind of hesitation also because so many times calling and what will be the response, isn't it? There may be because so many people may be calling at the same time. So again, the processing time period for the showroom as well will take a little bit time because they'll be processing person by person. So the limitations of the existing system from here we can understand that the existing system will not be able to provide complete information of vehicle to the customer quickly because there will be so many customers in the offline mode. So this will affect the efficiency as a whole. The existing system makes it difficult to manage the various data by the administrator. So since in existing system, everything is in the pen and paper mode, is in the offline mode. So retaining the data, preserving the data for a long period of time may be quite difficult. Just in the offline system, it's very insecure, friendly as well. It's also time consuming and complicated. So whenever you are working on a project, basically whenever there are certain loopholes, there are certain demerits, there are certain disadvantages, and then only we move towards the system that we want to develop. And that system is called what? It is called the proposed system, isn't it? So whenever we are making a system, that means the system which we are proposing to make, there should be certain advantages. That is the reason why we are going for the proposed system. Okay. So the proposed system that we want to make, it's completely in the online mode. People can look through the description. People can book test drives, People may be able to book bookings as well. We'll see in the system what are the functionalities that the system will have, correct? So these are the advantages of proposed system. It's like easy to generate reports for any transaction. It's much more faster than manual offline mode, isn't it? Easy and fastest record tracking. So all these things are there. Manpower is not required. Data can be stored in some cloud or maybe some server. Okay. Then you have to lay down the objective. That means under this software, what are the various things you're aiming to develop? So this project, like it is said, that it aims at developing a web application that shows online mobile automobile vehicles through online mode. That is the first objective. Second objective is that customer can register to the site and he can book vehicles and test rides of his choice by entering his login information. So customer can do the booking of the vehicles, can go for the booking of the ride, isn't it? Okay. But first of all, he needs to register his information. Customer can also inquire about various vehicles by visiting the site. Administrator will be the main person, will be the central role who will be playing here, because it is the administrator who can add new vehicle information, accessories, taxes and charges data, and the test ride details along with the sales date. Okay, so this is basically the objective or the aim of the. So this is how you have to give in synopsis also objective. Okay, I think you are having an idea name, idea. So you can take screenshots also and share. So first of all, what will be there? First will be the project title. Then second one will be the definition of the project. That means what are you are trying to do? Okay, well, how will the project work? Then second one, you have to do a study of an existing system, and you have to tell like what is the drawback of that existing system. Once there is a drawback of the existing system, then you will talk about why you have gone for the proposed system and what are the advantages. Then you have to lay down the objectives. That means what are the various work can be possible by using this software. Okay. Then you have to mention about the hardware and software requirements. So like hardware, these are the information that you have to make, like processor, Pentium, power. It depends from your like system to system, like what is the minimum requirement that you may need to have. Then software requirement, like which Windows platform it will be compatible. So here they are given Windows 7, 8, 10. Some of the applications may be compatible in maybe Red Hat, Linux as well. So that also you have to mention whether it's only for Windows or maybe it's across, I mean to say, operating system. Okay, then what is the other software requirements that you may have? So PHP, MySQL, Apache, and PHP MyAdmin. So all these things you have to mention. Okay. To so then again, you have to check whether it is feasible or not. So whenever we think of a project, first of all, we have to see whether the resources we have is fine enough to develop the project. Because many a times it may happen that any project looks on paper viable. It may not be viable when we undertake that project physically. Okay, so we need to check whether whatever things we have, whatever resources we have with us, whether those resources will be sufficient enough to develop the system or to develop the project or not. Okay, so we need to do a feasibility study. So in this feasibility study, again, there are three kinds: economic feasibility, technical feasibility, and behavioral feasibility. Itself, economic feasibility means we are doing an economic analysis. We are evaluating the effectiveness of a new system. More precise term, we are checking the cost and benefit analysis. Okay, so because the implementation of a software will be a one-time and a lifetime investment, so we need to make sure that the investment that is being made economically will be very much useful for the client as well as for us. Okay. So when it comes to economic feasibility, hardware is something which will always be there. We just need to check that whether the software that we have undertaken fulfills the goal or not. So what were the things? So these were the things, isn't it? The software requirement for this project to be developed. So once we see that, হয় স্যার। itu tadi application itu separate একটা লিঙ্ক আছে পঠাইছে না স্যার? ঠিক আছে, 1000 ঠিক আছে, ঠিক আছে স্যার।
Sir,
Okay,
sir,
hello.
do we also have to mention the package dependencies? Since I'll be using Python, so should I mention which Python packages that I'm using?
Yes, yes. That's what, like whatever things you are using from the software point of view, those things you have to mention nicely. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So but now, so here like economic feasibility, like you have to check also whether the software or packages that you have used is free downloadable and it's easy to use. So for him, it was freely downloadable and easy to use. Okay. So for you all, if something is premium based, then accordingly you have to check. Okay, you have to mention that. Then technical feasibility means what are the uh, uh, things you will be. One was the economic, okay, from the purchase point of view. The other one is the technical feasibility. So technical feasibility will involve questions such as whether the technology needed for the system exists or not, how difficult will it be built, and whether the firm has enough experience using that technology. Okay. The assessment is based on an outline design, like what are the system requirements, like in terms of input, what is the output value, what are the various processes that may be there, what are the various attributes, what are the various functions. Okay, all these things will be taken into consideration. Okay.
So in that technical feasibility is they mentioned the minimum memory requirement. Like how should we decide how much should be minimum?
Yes, yes.
Normally
Based on that only, you
yeah.
have to come up. You have to like state very explicitly that what will be the minimum amount of memory, not only memory, that other resources also. That means, let's say, for example, some project may be Internet of Things based. Okay, so that time certain hardware things also will come into play, isn't it? So what will be the minimum hardware required in that case? So all those things, like whatever is the requirement, you have to take it from the minimum point of view. That means by getting this much also, I can develop the system.
No,
The thing should be
I've
as such.
tried hosting projects before in online. So in there
Mm.
I mean they give you 512 MB RAM for the project.
Yes.
So but how do I know
Okay. Okay.
how much should be minimum? For me 512 is working fine, but how should I know that? I mean, should it be 128 MB or should it be 32 MB?
See yeah, yeah, that thing is there. Like you have to see first of all that the packages, the software that is being there, like how much maybe space does it consume? Like let's say, maybe what, let's say for example, you said a Python package you need, isn't it? Okay, so how much like uh, memory occupancy will it consume? So that you have to check one thing. Then second thing, you have to do a little bit of survey that whatever system software you will be building, how much amount of memory space will it consume. So that you have to do a little bit of analysis maybe with the kind of work that has already been done. So that you need to explore. Okay, you have
Okay,
to
sir.
check like what will be the length of the project. So based on that, you will come up with a conclusion. Okay, that for this much amount of work in Python, I'll be requiring this much amount of memory. Okay, so that accordingly. So if suppose you are building, let's say a very gaming kind of software, so that time minimum it depends actually, minimum 4 GB of RAM will be consumed. Okay, depending upon how much of graphic work you are involving there. All those things actually will vary from the type of system you are building. So based on the system, you can cross check how much amount of resources, okay, you will be requiring. So based on that, like for example, if I just want to build a system which just calculates values like a calculator, scientific calculator. So it may be a VB.NET or something I'm making. So that time, for me, it will just take maybe like just 32 MB of RAM will be sufficient, because first thing is that I'm not storing any information that time for permanently, isn't it? I just have to perform the computation calculation and display it. So my memory requirement is very, very small. So that time, only minimum requirement like 32 MB of RAM will be sufficient. That is the least, I mean to say. Okay. Keeping that point in point, that with minimum how much of resources, with that only we'll be able to come up.
Okay, sir.
Then next is the behavioral feasibility. So here it evaluates and estimates the user attitude or behavior towards the development of new systems. Uh, so basically, behavioral means how would the system look like, or how would the system be perceived from the end user point of view. So if suppose we have built a software, we have built a system. So in that case, if the people who will be using that system are not technically sound enough, okay, they don't know how so that time it will require a lot of effort to educate, okay, the people, to retrain those, like this is from the client side. Okay, so if suppose we have a client, a customer who doesn't know anything, you have just given the requirement of bill, and then how to use it also we need to demonstrate, that we need to train them, isn't it? So that knowledge of using the system is also the responsibility of the developer, to train them, to educate them, okay, how they can make use of the system effectively so that they can conduct the business very effectively. So that comes in the behavioral feasibility. But in case of when you're doing the project, let's say fifth sem, that time you don't have a client. You are just making of it for your academic upgradation. So there is no such requirement. But in your sixth semester, when you'll be working for a company, then definitely when you have made the system for your client or for your customer, then you need to educate them, you need to train, you have to pass that knowledge of information to them so that they will be able to know how the system is being utilized. Okay, so there comes the behavioral feasibility. Is it clear or it's not understandable? This is, I'm teaching everything from the software point of view. Okay,
Yes, sir, it's clear.
I mean to say real time, you can say project from the project point of view. So then comes your software gathering, requirement gathering and specification. So with this, we have already checked, like we have to state explicitly the functional requirements and non-functional requirements. So functional requirement is like should register into the system by providing all the information. Then if it is a registered your user login, then he can just provide his username and password, and that will direct him to the home page. Okay. After he has logged in, the user will provide the time, date, interested. Okay, he can book the vehicle subject to the availability of the test drive. If suppose that vehicle has already been booked by someone else, then that should not be allowed. The user can also check and inquire car by only giving his query name and phone number. So if it's a registered user, if you want to check any particular car information about description or anything as such, then he can put up his query, he can give his name and phone number. Admin on the other side need not perform any registration. He can just log in giving user ID, username and password. Admin can update, delete, view, add all those information because admin is the central character who will be playing here. Admin can give remarks to the query. Admin can store booking and sales record. Okay. Admin can also update status of test drive. So this functional requirement, you have to note it down. You have to make first before making a DLT. So the most important thing that, most of the people, they don't follow, and as a result, they are unable to make the DLT or ER diagram correctly. So this has to be taken in a very significant way. Okay, and very importantly, you all have to look into it. Always be the same for all projects. Like the system should have a high responsive time. It should be easy for the user to use the system. Okay. Then you have to state the SRS for admin, for user. That way it will break up. Okay. So like for example, SRS for admin is like you'll have the login, view details, insert details, update details. For user, these are the things. Okay, and then comes the data flow diagram. So data flow diagram, these are the things which you need. We will not be we'll not be doing DFD anymore. So today you have to understand very nicely. So what are the things we have? We have external entities we need to identify first. So who are the external entities? They are the people who will be working with the system. Okay, so here we have already identified external entity as whom. They are the two people who will be involved. One is the administrator and the other one is the user. Correct? Then process. Process is nothing, external entity is shown by rectangular box. Process is nothing but it is a kind of activity that is being carried out by the administrator and the user. Okay. And the name of a process should always be a verb. That you have to remember. The name of a process should always be a verb. The name of an external entity should always be a noun. Okay, so that these things you have to remember. Then next is these arrows. These arrows represent the data flow. That means how the data will flow. Whether the data will be given by the administrator or the user to the software, to the system, or from the software some information will be retrieved by the user or the administrator. So accordingly, this arrow can be from right to left or from left to right. Then data storage is basically the storehouse where these data are being kept, they are being preserved, okay, for record keeping so that at later point of time they can be retrieved. So the symbol of this one is open-ended rectangle and these two parallel lines will be there. Then next is if suppose the system is generating any kind of report or output from the software, then this is the symbol, it is like a SIM card, okay, like bill or something like that it is generating. Then in that case, we have to show with this symbol. Okay. So these are the first thing is that you have to know the symbols that is being used in the DLD. Oval, arrow, open-ended rectangle, and then SIM card for report. Okay, so these symbols you have to know it very thoroughly. Then only you will be able to make the data flow diagram. So first, when we are constructing, the first thing that comes in data flow diagram is the context diagram or level zero. Again, I'm saying it is context diagram, not context level. Many people make mistakes saying context level. It's not context level, it's context diagram zero. Now, this is the mother process, isn't it? At level zero, the main process. This will be broken up, or later we will split this process. So this is since it is level zero, it is numbered as level zero, and then we write the name of the project in the mother process. So what's the name? The project title: Online Automobile Showroom Management System. Clear? Entities here, external entities are the ones which communicates with the software. So how many external entities we have? We have two, admin and customer, correct? Admin will play the central role because admin will be providing all the information to the software, whereas customer will be basically making requests. We will basically will be making the registration. Customer will be basically be inquiring for the test ride, okay, accessories and other things. Now, let us first see from the admin side. So, admin will not make registration. It will only log in into the system using login ID and password. Correct? Admin will provide the vehicle data. That means what is the product information, what is the rate, price, description. Admin will provide on which date the vehicle is available for booking. So it will give to the software vehicle booking data. See, these arrows are moving from the admin to the software because it is giving to the system. Admin will provide what are the accessories available to the system so that the customer can view it. Admin can provide the test ride data if suppose the ride has already been done before. So this record keeping has to be stored in the software so that admin will provide in the data so that the customer can access anytime. Admin will provide the sales data. That means if suppose the vehicle is already sold out, then that information also has to be available in the software. And according to each one of them, one message will be shared by the admin. Sorry, but one message, like for example, if the admin is successfully being able to log in correctly, then a message will be given by the system acknowledging that yes, the credentials are correct and it will direct to the home page. This part is for the admin side. On the other side, what can the customer do? So customer has to first provide the information, registration process. Once the registration process is done, he will be given a message with user ID and password. Next time, the customer can log in with login ID and password. Okay, once he logs in, so he will be directed to the home page. The customer can go for what? Vehicle inquiry. What are the vehicle which are present? The customer can go with booking request. Customer can go with test ride inquiry. The customer can go with what are the accessories available. All these inquiry will be made by the customer, and these details like accessories are there or not, vehicles are there or not, that data who will input? It is the admin will input. getting, that's why the arrow from the admin side is from the admin to the process. Are you getting the point or not? Okay, so this thing has to be very, very clear. Once the admin feeds the data, then only the customer will be able to view it. If suppose the software is producing any kind of bill, any kind of report, then this is how it should be here. The report can be anything. The report can be on the sales which is being done this month. The report can be the data of the test, right? That various kind of customers they have undertaken. Okay, so any kind of report if we are generating, so in the zeroth level only, from here one report will be shared. Okay, this is the report which will be common to both customer and admin. So customer can view it by giving the like day which was that he has done the test, right, isn't it? So that thing he can view it. Okay, so this is level 0. Now in level 1 we have to break down this one. So this is first level DFD for both admin as well as customer, but I prefer that it should be done separately. Okay, so for clarity, but he had done it together, so it's okay. It's the same thing only. So look here in the registration process. Registration, who will carry out? Who will carry out the registration process? Is it the customer or the admin? Can anyone tell me who will make the registration? Is it the customer or the admin? Who will do the
Customer.
registration? Yes, very good. So customer has to provide the details. C details is the customer details. That means he'll provide all those name, address, age, and okay, date of birth, phone number. Okay. So once he performs, he gives all this information. Then look, these arrows are very tricky. Okay. Once he gives all these details to this process, the process will insert this. See, C info is going, and it will be going in the customer table, customer data table. Are getting the point? Customer has given the details. The process responsibility is to store all these information in a data store. So it has stored here. Clear? Now, after he has stored this information, he will receive user ID and password. So look here, one arrow is going here, user ID and password. So once he receives that one, so using the login process, the customer will provide the user ID that he has received, user ID and password, and then accordingly, whatever user ID and password is there in the database, that will be fetched and it will be checked whether it is correct or not. If it is correct, then a message of acknowledgement will go to the customer that yes, the user ID and password that you have provided is correct, and hence we can like it will direct him to the home page. Similarly, this process will be also be used by the administrator. Why it will be used by the administrator? Because login process will do the same work. Login. One login he will do for the customer, one login he will do for the administrator. So what he'll do, he'll provide the user. Now from the administrator point, the administrator will provide the user ID and password. That user ID and password is already available in the admin table. So that will be fetched. Okay. Then it will compare. It will see that the user ID and password that the admin has provided and the credentials which is stored in the database of the admin table, they are matching or not. If they are matching, then a message will be sent that okay, it is successful, and it will direct to the home page. Okay, so this login process is a two things we have done here is that we have this login process will do the login for both admin as well as for the customer. Registration process will do the registration work only for the customer because the admin is not registering any information here. Here, so that has to be, that's why this is going, see, after these details are given, then directly this arrow is going here to the customer data. Are you getting the point or not? Okay, so this is how it's done. So once the customer once the I mean to say the administrator logs in, then what will happen? Let us see. Once the admin logs in, if you go to the next level, see, admin will be able to put in the software vehicle booking data, accessories data, test ride data, isn't it? All these data, vehicle data, all these information will be by the admin. That will be updated by the admin. So vehicle details, okay, or accessory details, sales details, okay, terms and condition details, all these data will be stored, data entry we are doing, okay, will be stored by the admin in different tables. See, one vehicle info will go in the vehicle table, accessories data info will go in this table, test ride data info will go in this table, booking and sales data info will go in this table. Okay, so all these information are being stored by the admin, because until and unless the administrator doesn't store, how will the customer see in the website? Isn't it? That has to be there in the database. So those details has to be stored by the administrator. Now, if you look, the naming also, registration is what? It's a verb, because registration is an activity that is happening. Logging is what? It's a verb. So the name of the process should always be a verb. So it should be 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. How this point is coming from here? The mother process is 0. So when we are dividing the mother process, what is happening? We have to like produce its sub levels, isn't it? So that's why it's 1 is coming from 0. So 0.1, then 0.2. Then these are sub parts, 0.3, that way. Then data inquiry. Who will do the inquiry? Admin need not do any inquiry, because it is the admin only is providing the information. Then who will do the inquiry? It is the customer, isn't it? Now the customer will be inquiring based on what? The name of the vehicle, name of the accessories, whether they are there or not, name of the test ride. If we are having on that particular day, we can go for test ride of the car. Okay, test ride date. So all these information, the customer will give all these inputs. Okay, I want to know all these information. So how this will be retrieved? So this will be retrieved from here. For test ride, it will be retrieved from test ride data table, because already those information has been stored in the table. This part is done by the administrator. This part of the work will be done by the customer. Then similarly, vehicle info, the vehicle name and all that, all those details customer wants. So that details will be fetched from the vehicle data table. Okay, so that thing we have to be very clear. Second thing you have to remember, that in the first level of DFD, there should be total number of processes which should be ranging between 3 to 7. So minimum can be 3, maximum should be 7. So we have how many here? 1, 2, 3. That thing you have to remember. Now, after this is the first level DFD. So we have to see that whether we can decompose each of the process again in the next level or not. Okay. So first we will see with this process. Can we decompose the registration? Is there anything left? No. All the work is already done. We have already provided all the information. So this will not be decomposed or broken in anymore. Login process. Can this be decomposed again? No. This also cannot be decomposed anymore. So this also will be the same. Can this be decomposed again? Yes, can be decomposed, because under one process only we have done for vehicle info, accessories info, isn't it? Test ride info, and then booking and sales data info. So in under one process, so each of them now will be now broken down. Vehicle info will be taken separately by another process. Accessories info will be taken separately by another process. Okay, so 0.3 process will be broken down. What we have broken down, it is the 0.3. So now we have broken down to sub level, like vehicle data entry will be preserved in a separate table. Accessories data entry will be preserved in separate table. Test date right data entry will be preserved in a separate table. Booking and sales data entry will be in a separate table. Vehicle inquiry, okay, is like we are inquiring whether the information is available or not. Test ride inquiry also, if on a particular date we can go for a test drive or not. So those information will be broken up. Okay. 0.3 process actually will be only vehicle data entry, accessories data entry, test ride data entry, and booking and sales data entry. That means this data entry will be now broken into 4 processes. Each process will deal different entries. One is the vehicle entry, one is the accessories entry, one is the test ride entry, and one is the booking and sales info entry. 0.4 again will be broken for 2 different sub-processes. One is the inquiry of the test ride, and the another one is the inquiry of the vehicle. Okay. Same thing here. Again, so vehicle data entry, again, all the vehicle information, all these ID, color, image, price, okay, type, specifications will be entered. Accessories, again, color, image of the accessories, price, same thing only. Test ride data entry, like the vehicle, which vehicle is available on which day, okay, and in which time, and who is the in charge person whom we have to contact. So those things will be stored here. Then booking and sales data entry, like if suppose we can book the car, okay, what is the sales which has taken place, if is the product still available or not. So all those information also will be entered. Whereas in case of inquiring, this is the another set of process which has been decomposed. So if you look here, data entry. Okay, so what data inquiry the customer can do? He can do here, if you can see here, one is the vehicle inquiry he's doing, and the other one is the test ride of the car, whether it is available or not. So accordingly, this two information will be inquired, but the customer has to inquire based on certain parameters, isn't it? So on what parameters it will inquire? The name of the vehicle and the type of the vehicle. So this information the customer will give to the software, and accordingly from the table, from the vehicle data table, that will be retrieved. So the arrow is coming from the table to the process. Similarly, for test ride also, he will check whether the vehicle is available or not. So he'll give to the system. The test ride data table is already there, which is being entered by the administrator. So that will be fetched. The details will be fetched and then accordingly um, customer. Okay, so I hope that the data flow diagram is now much clearer. And this is the data dictionary. That means the fields that will be there. Okay, all these information will be required in the table, and you have to make data dictionary in such way: column name, data type, and description. Then the ER diagram. So look here: customer books for the vehicle, customer test ride for the vehicle. Okay, so two entities are connected by two relationships. Okay, so many customer can book many vehicles on the same day. Many customer can go for many test rides on the same day. Many customer can inquire for many tables. Many customer can buy many accessories. Then you have to see that the primary key, let's say customer is the table, so the primary key is customer ID. So this has to be underlined. This has not been underlined, but every time the attribute which is the primary key should always be underlined. Similarly for vehicle also, vehicle ID is the primary key, so that has to be underlined accordingly. Then the line will come: serial number, name, data type, field size, description, example. Okay, let's say AID is the primary key, so example is month. Admin name, okay, we are taking data type as varchar. The maximum size that we have taken is 50. Admin name, this attribute basically gives us the name of the admin, and example is ABC. Okay, so there may be many tables. So any question, or did you understand today or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I understood.